night. That
Yeah,
was
it's
pretty
good.
awesome.
Sweet. I still haven't made it. I've got to make one of those. I ended up tattooing kind of I normally don't tattoo Sundays, but I had a special circumstance, and so I didn't get home until kind of late. What was it? It was focused on chrysanthemums. Is that what?
Chrysanthemums,
Yeah.
exactly what I was working on for the past few weeks.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, cool.
Okay, we
What?
are now live off of the Tattoo Television YouTube,
Right.
and
We'll
so
we'll figure the
let
fireside
me
part of
run
it
through.
out.
Now that we have the YouTubes going, I will run through that schedule again real quick. Sorry, Jake, you get to get this drilled into you. So
Yeah, I'll
welcome
know
to
it.
the hashtag Reinventing Drawing Group Monday Morning Edition with Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Network. And this is an event where artists can beam in to draw their tattoos. I don't know, I start the video when I do this, huh?
Yeah.
Uh, Artists can beam in to draw tattoos. People can watch. There's lots of conversation. The Zoom links you can get through some of these chat rooms, and always at the Reinventing the Tattoo. If you go to the community link, it's community.reinventingthetattoo.com, and the Zoom link is behind the events there. Other upcoming Reinventing the Tattoo Network webcasts, we have a full week. It's pretty amazing. At noon today, Monday, we have Let's Talk Tattoo with Billy Spacey Lyons, interviewed by Mark from Needle Jig Tattoo Supply. Billy's an awesome tattooer, a musician. He's got a motor. He builds motorcycles. He's got some YouTube shit going on. It's going to be a
And
great interview. Uh, we're going to do a wave follow up with Andre Malcolm. So the Reinventing the Tattoo subscriber Mondays at 9 o'clock, religiously, secularly, but religiously. The artists are coming together with Guy Aitchison leading exercises along with other guests. And if you missed last week's Drawing Waves with Andre Malcolm, it was amazing. It was relatively epic, as these streams tend to be. The night streams, the morning ones, will cut off because we all have to like go to work and exercise and shit. But
right.
the night ones, we go. Point being is, you want to check out the replay of the Andre Malcolm Waves. Do a search on the YouTube. You'll find it, Andre Malcolm Waves. Drawing, etc. So tonight, whether you saw that one or not, tonight he's going to be doing a follow up. So 9 o'clock, reinventingthetattoo.com. That one is open for the public. Generally, the Mondays are for subscribers, but Guy always opens up a couple to everybody. So there we go. Drunk Critique is Tuesday. Shit, that's tomorrow. Get ready. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be day drinking for Sean Barber, and a bunch of Europeans will be available. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. We've got a Cheyenne tattoo machine giveaway. And if you have tattoos or art to submit for critiques, get at drunkcritique.com. And if you have holiday themed art and tattoos, then you get chances to win some of these amazing prizes. Again, including that Cheyenne tattoo machine. No joke.
That's
Okay.
cool.
This Wednesday, we've got the History of Tattoo Conventions interview series with Alex Van Dutch from World Tattoo Events, and he'll be interviewing Derb Morrison. This is 8 o'clock Eastern. And yeah, Derb's going to be talking about, obviously, the Hell City tattoo conventions have a reputation that precedes all of this, and or all of us. And yeah, so he's going to be catching up about, obviously, uh, the COVID and the future of the conventions. I know that he just bumped them up to 2022, the Hell Cities, so we'll have to hold our party for another year. But also, it's about the history of tattoo conventions, and Derb's, been going to conventions forever and is, got a great insight about it. So yes, so that's the Wednesday event. Thursday during the day, 12 noon. This is December 10th. We've got the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Fawn and Jordan. Todd Torres is the interviewee, and if you're a tattoo collector, these are amazing interviews to learn about tattoo collecting. If you're a tattooer, they're great to hear because you get to hear different perspectives of tattoo collectors, and a lot of tattoo collectors are artists, etc., etc., etc. Anyways, we have a ton of webcasting going on. If you want to catch any of the replays, go to the YouTube channels and check them out. Also, Tattoo Smart, as we were talking about earlier, is doing great videos with formats that are long form with drawing and or he's demoing. Anyways, Tattoo Smart's a great channel too. Point being is, more people are beaming in, and we can start to draw stuff. I'll hand it over to Jake
Cool, man. I didn't realize. I guess maybe you mentioned it, and I just and I didn't hear it that Sean Barber was going to be participating in that drunk critique. That's cool. I don't know. I've never met him. I love his paintings. I might put a couple of my portrait sketches in to get his feedback on.
Yeah, he's out of control. Real great guy and exceptionally talented for sure. It's going to be a real fun. It's a holiday edition, so although we do encourage plenty of bah humbug for contrast.
Yeah, if I can finish, I'm tattooing tomorrow, but I won't be finished until around 6 Central, so they should be pretty drunk. I may try to jump in on it if that's cool. I'll give you a call. Or a
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sweet. All right. So what? Do we lose Jason? Or was he? No, we have. All I see is my cell phone here.
No, I'm here.
Okay. All right. I got to go back to gallery view. Here we go. Now I can see people. Hey, Melissa, how are you? All right.
I'm doing good.
Good. We'll see what everybody's working on. Oh, Jason, the other thing's coming along really well. Yeah, both of those look great.
It's getting there. I'm going to go back through and rework the chrysanthemum after last night's webinar. Well, at least the middle of it, just to make that a little bit more legible.
Yeah.
Last night's webinar really was helpful with just like overall form of it and just generalized layout. Thought it was absolutely incredible. So it really helped a lot.
That's awesome. I've got to check those out. And those are recorded for future, right? I mean, I can go back and watch it now.
Up on the Tattoo Smart YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep, they're there right now.
Sweet. Yeah, I need to check that out. I talked to Russ a little bit a couple of days after when he popped in, kind of surprised us and popped in last Monday. I talked to him Tuesday or Wednesday, and he was talking about some of the stuff they were trying to do on YouTube. And yeah, I definitely need to jump in and participate, check it out. I need to get set up. How are you guys set up where you're always looking at your screen? You have a secondary, you're streaming from your phone or your iPad. Is that what it is?
My MacBook.
Your MacBook. Okay.
So let me flip my my HD camera around. Don't mind the mess in the rest of the room, and I'll kind of show you the setup I got going on.
Okay, cool.
So I don't know how well you can see it.
Yeah, pretty well.
But I've got this little arm. I bought it on Amazon for $20. It's on like a little base.
Yeah.
And I picked up an external webcam that I had laying around. And that just screws right onto the end of it.
Okay.
And I just have that pointed straight down right at my iPad.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I do have a huge Wacom tablet I could probably work on instead. But trying to figure out the logistics of how to get more of an over-the-shoulder shot was kind of being a bit tricky. So I just figured for now, until I can get that figured out, this usually works just fine.
Yeah, that's perfect. What about you, Melissa? What's your setup? Oh, thank you.
So for me, I actually bring my Glamcore light home from the shop every weekend.
Yay, Glamcore.
Doing a painting thing now? You fucking kidding me?
What are we hearing?
My fiance. Sorry
Gotcha.
for the background.
That's cool.
Reality TV, it's all good.
So all right. So you bring your Glamcore light and what from there?
So it's just my multimedia X Glamcore light for the recording with my phone. And then I use my tablet. Either I'm drawing on it, and so I don't get a view, or I throw it up on the YouTube so I can kind of see everybody's stuff that they're working on.
Gotcha. Let's see.
Yeah. There's a fair amount of people watching throughout the different networks. If you want to let us know in the chat room where you're beaming in from, that would be awesome. And if you're drawing, then let us know what you're drawing with. We've got at least one person here. G'day, Art Army from Sydney, Australia. Hi, Matt. How you doing? I've got some characters here I can't even understand. Raga says, "What's up, brother?" Okay, sorry about that. I just wanted to pop in. Oh, Kyle says, "Hey guys, awesome to be here with you all finally." So yeah, like I said, just let us know where you're at in the chat room. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm surprised that it's so many
are you
people
painting, like,
outside the
fucking
U.S. since it's
6
8
o'clock in the
o'clock in the
morning?
morning or 9 o'clock, whatever your time, I guess.
No,
Gabe.
no.
Well, keep in mind, man, over in other parts of the world, like with the time difference and whatnot. So it
Yeah.
might be 9:15 in the morning here.
Right.
Over in Japan, it's 10:15 at night.
Yeah, that was my
Exactly.
point. That's what I was saying. Like, I don't know why I'm so surprised that it's people, that it's international people, but it's much later in the day, so they're probably more likely to zoom in than folks in my time zone, because most tattooers I know are probably still asleep.
Of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
first person to answer is from Georgia, Devin from Inked Expressions in Dalton, Georgia.
Dalton,
Thanks
Georgia.
for tuning in early.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping in. Let's see. I'll share mine for a second. I need to get a setup where we can always see my drawing like you guys instead of staring at my face. Let's see here. I'll do a screen share for a minute here and show you kind of like what I'm working on. I don't have a. This is for a lower arm. She already has a upper arm piece. You can kind of see here that I did not do. It's existing. I'm trying to figure out how to pull into, but she just wanted some kind of organic, flowery stuff. So I'm not using any reference. I just started drawing folds of what I thought at first might be flowers, but now it's looking more like fabric or drapery or something like that. But just kind of like working out ideas. So I want to do something with like with a cool glow, like a yellow glow over this like pink. See if I can get some cool color combinations. Can everyone see that? Did I click share?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it looked great.
All right, that's where I stand. I'll stop my share so we can see what everyone else is working on here. Melissa, is that for anything in particular?
Actually, it was originally just something I had sitting around that I wound up painting for one of the paint jams.
Oh.
It's oil, it's finely dry, so I'm just kind of clear coating it. And I'm prepping this bigger round and then some smaller rounds for some holiday type gifting.
Yeah, nice. Do you normally paint acrylic or oil or what?
So before this year, I had all the stuff to do both.
Mhm.
But usually I stuck with acrylic. And at this point, I'm leaning more into the oils, but it's kind of nice to swap back and forth. This oil painting here is it's within my first 10 of them. I really
Wow.
enjoy the oil.
Yeah. That looks great. Yeah,
Thank
I'm the same. I enjoy oil. I don't. I tend to just pile paint up and scoot it around until it looks like something. So I don't really use oil like a lot of people do. But I just like the fact that I can set it on the canvas and scoot it around for days on end.
Right.
See, I don't understand how you guys love working with oil paint.
Yeah.
It blends.
I've worked with it before, and yeah, you get some great fades. You get some amazing color blends. You can glaze and glaze and glaze and glaze and glaze until it's perfect. I just don't have the patience to wait until it dries.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really wait until it dries. I paint so much wet into wet that I don't need it to dry too much. I use a lot of I use a lot of just kind of straight paint.
Okay.
I don't use a ton of linseed oil or anything like that, or Galkit or whatever medium. I tend to just use paint, and a lot of times that like linseed oil. When I start using it, I'll use it later on, or if the paint's super whatever heavy and it doesn't spread well, I'll use a little bit. But I used to run into trouble when I first started of using way too much oil, and it would sit kind of wet forever, and then nothing would even stick to the canvas. Like paint would just slide around, and you couldn't get it to fall off the brush and onto the canvas. And so I've gotten to where I basically just start with a little bit of terpenoid, and then just start using straight paint more often than not. So it tends to, then I can work wet into wet for a long time.
See, I was always so used to working with liquid, and I would buy that by the as much as I could at a time, but I would always mix that in because it accelerated the drying time.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where I was just like, why don't I just work with acrylic?
Right.
You know, but I think acrylic dries just a little too fast and it's a little too heavy for me.
Yeah.
I prefer more fluid mediums like liquid acrylic, watercolor, things of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got we have this kind of third floor media room in our house that my son uses as a video game room, and I've been thinking about doing like just painting the walls with, I don't know, so we don't know what, maybe we're thinking about maybe dragons and water and stuff like that, just painting the entire room. And I've been trying to think of what kind of paint I'm going to use for that. I don't even own any acrylic paint. I mean, I may have a couple of tubes here and there. Do any of you guys do any large scale like painting, any kind of mural work, anything like that?
I've done some mural work a couple of times indoors, people's homes. I worked acrylic with that. The only thing I didn't like is that with acrylic and having a stationary light in a room, you have this insane shine.
Yeah.
But as far as like on canvases and stuff, I have some big canvases, like 3 foot by 6 foot that I bought a while back, but I haven't started on them yet.
Okay. What did you use, like golden or Liquitex, like acrylic out of the tube, or do you use fluid acrylics when you've done
No, I used out of the tube.
Gotcha.
I have found that, so earlier this year when they had all the first lockdowns and stuff in my state, I picked up what they call a wet palette, which it's basically like a box that seals up with your acrylics. So it makes it to where the acrylic paint actually lasts for like a week. And I found that was really helpful because I'm one of those ones that I'll stop on a painting and then I'll sit back and I'll give it a day or two and then I'll go back to it.
Yeah.
And that's impossible with acrylic.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. I'll look into that. I stopped by the art center to grab just some to reload on Sharpies because I draw so much on people. And I just happened to walk by a little display of these like really heavy, big markers. They looked like whatever, big Prismacolor style markers, but like twice as thick, probably like, I don't know, like the size of a $50 or something like that in circumference. I just kind of glanced at the display. They had a little video going, and it looked like that they were made for like large scale drawing.
They're amazing.
You know what they are?
I know exactly what they are. They're Liquitex acrylic paint markers, and they are unbelievable. It's like working with a Sharpie, only it's acrylic paint. Dave Tevenall was one of the guys that turned me on to using those because he does a lot of large scale graffiti stuff and just a lot of like huge paintings super fast. So I was picking his brain about that one day, and he's like, "Oh man, they're great. They've got a chisel tip. You can get like a kind of a rounded chisel tip for it." He said, "But dude, it cuts time in half. If you use the right techniques with that, it makes doing huge paintings super fast."
Yeah, that's awesome. I was actually thinking about him when I was looking at those. I see, some of his time-lapse stuff of his work. And I knew some of it he was doing, in spray paint. I didn't know what he was using. Though that popped in my head. It's funny that you mentioned him because I thought, oh, this seems like something that he could be using on some of that time-lapse stuff that I see him doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, I'm going to check those out. They're called Liquitex
acrylic paint markers.
Acrylic paint markers. Let me write that down.
And they, like I said, they're amazing. Just getting the chance to sit down and watch Dave work quite a few times it's just inspiring to see what he can pull off in like an hour.
Yeah.
He'll cover a whole 13 by 19 page in, hour or two without even thinking about it. And, the same thing for me, just the way my process works would probably take me maybe a day. So he's just always an inspiration to me. I've gotten tattooed by him a few times and he's just as fast with tattooing.
Oh wow, have you? Man, you've picked up. You're kind of a collector, huh? Did you tell me you were tattooed by Fibs as well?
Yep. Been tattooed by Fibs. He actually has like the largest single piece done on me. He owns the right to that. It goes basically from my armpit to the, I'd say, upper thigh, and from my belly button all the way over to my butt cheek. And
Oh
it's
wow,
solid.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
We did that over a year and a half. You know, I've been tattooed by a couple of people. Clint Danroth from Canada. That was amazing. He's always been like one of my heroes. Then again, a lot of those Canadian guys kind of are. There's something in the water up there, I swear.
Yeah, Clint Danroth. I don't think I know him.
Very illustrative.
Okay.
Definitely has a very unique illustrative style. Bold lines, very angular, very high contrast, a lot of modeling, but definitely more along the lines of the illustrative work.
Huh.
Dave Tevenau's tattooed me twice. Denny Besnard out in San Diego. He's the guy that I really credit with driving me into just becoming a better artist and becoming a better tattooer. And he tattooed me about 10 years ago, back when I was just getting my feet wet in this industry, and completely changed my life.
Oh.
So,
and what's his name again?
Denny Besnard. He's the owner of Even Keel Tattoo in San Diego.
Okay. What part of San Diego is that, Vita? What's it near?
I'm not positive off the top of my head. I can always hit him up and find out for you, though.
I was just curious. That seems like that town is just so stacked with great tattooers.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, Fibs is working out of San Diego now.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of just really great guys that are working out of that Southern California area.
Yeah. That entire shop that Aaron Della Vedova has put together at both of those locations. Even some of the guys that I didn't know their names, going through and looking at their work, they were all fantastic. And then, and I didn't realize for a while that the Grand Reaper, Justin Hartman, and those guys are there. I don't know exactly where. I've never been to that shop, but they're somewhere in town.
Yeah, San Diego is just such a huge area.
Yeah.
For example, so one of my old employers and I sat down one day and figured it out, because we were like, how are there so many tattoo studios in the San Diego area? We couldn't wrap our minds around it, coming from the suburbs of Philadelphia. For us, we're used to the size of a city of Philadelphia, nothing super crazy huge. And we factored
How big is
it out.
Philadelphia? I thought it was a pretty big city.
Philadelphia is, I like to think it's an average size, but when you compare that to San Diego, the city of San Diego takes up the entire county of Philadelphia, plus the two other surrounding counties north of Philadelphia, and takes up all three of those. And that's just the city of San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge. Absolutely massive.
That's crazy. I had no idea. I've been around in San Diego, but I guess I've never been end to end. I didn't realize. I thought it was I guess it is significantly smaller than like LA. But then it seems like a lot of those, if you take the train, which I've done a time or two from LA to San Diego, it seems like those towns kind of run into each other a little bit. There are a lot of
merge.
Yeah. All right.
There are a ton of great tattooers out there, but also look at the New England area. I was tattooed last December. Actually, my last decent piece was done by my buddy Devin down at the Puerto Rico show. And that was, once again, a religious experience.
Yeah. The show, the tattoo, or the show itself?
Both.
Yeah.
Working that show for the first time a couple of years ago changed my life. You're it's more like a retreat than it is like a money-making convention.
Mhm.
But when you're surrounded by all of these incredible tattooers from all over the world, it's, you know, and a lot of these guys are my personal heroes that, you know, I have always looked at their work, taken their, you know, images that they've done, broken them down, tried to figure out, okay, how did this guy get this to work,
Yeah.
you know, right, and make it look the way that he does? What little tricks are they using to maybe create this effect or that effect? Or,
Mhm.
you know, how are they dealing with the negative space in this piece? You know, and they're right there. You can talk to them,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
watch them work. Guys like Calais Corson and James Tex, who
Yeah.
James Tex is on just a whole nother planet.
Yeah, absolutely. I love his work. So good.
Yeah, him and Steve Moore, the
Yep.
crew,
Yeah.
fucking. Whew.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just another level,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
I remember I was standing next to James Tex. I was in between James Tex and Calais Corson, watching Dave Tevenall work with markers and I think it was some paint pens. And it was incredible. I was like, I'm not worthy of standing here right now. I have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, we're all just tattooers. We all do the same thing, just to different levels and in different
Mhm.
ways.
Yeah, we were talking in our Find Your Style group this past Monday about Andy was talking about, Chambers was talking about when he first, I forget what, if anyone from the Find Your Style group is watching and remember what they said, what Andy said that he went to that was like an illustrative tattooing jam or something, but he was invited. It was like him, Teresa Sharp, Steve Moore, like you're saying, James Tex, a handful of like large scale illustrative tattooers. And he said he spent the entire time, and this is quite a few years ago. He's like, I just wanted to see what, like what they were doing that I wasn't. And it came down to that everyone had just had a very deliberate process. He was like, all of them had a process. He's like, for example, I noticed that he's like, everyone was using 3-liners to come back and like really tighten up all their stuff at the end of their tattoos. He's like, everyone except for me. And he was like, and that was just one of those little things that I didn't think was all that important. But whenever I saw that, you know, Teresa was doing it and Steve, you know, was doing it, and he was like, I just started kind of incorporating that and becoming more like, he's like, I started questioning my own process more, you know, trying to, you know, to establish my process and then ask myself questions, you know, why I'm doing this and why I'm doing that and what would make this. He uses the term exceptional a lot. And he's always saying like, asking himself, what would make this exceptional? Like it's already a really good tattoo, but what would make it exceptional? And so yeah, to your point, it's cool to be around those types of people and just see like what is it that they're doing that, you know, that really sets them apart. The thing that I noticed when I first started doing the podcast, first started Fireside and going around and like going to people's shops and watching them work, is how I would know, or take someone like Guy. You can watch a Guy tattoo, and probably for the first 3 or 4 hours, it will look like your tattoo. Like, oh, that's what it would look like if I did it. There's nothing really that I'm seeing that's setting this apart. And it just comes down to that extra bit of like when I would call it finished, he may still have 2 hours to go or an hour and a half to go. Same thing with the like watching some of these like Aaron Della Vedova, watching some of these illustrative tattooers. They're like spending time making sure that those blends are as like buttery as they can be, or really sculpting lines, or making sure that curves fit just exactly how they should fit. And they're coming back and like doing all that stuff whenever a lot of us would just think that the tattoo was finished. And that's when it goes. That's when it goes from being like a good tattoo or an acceptable tattoo to being an exceptional tattoo.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons, and I highly encourage every single person I have ever met in my life to do this at least once. That's a tattooer, is just go to the London Tattoo Convention and walk around.
Mhm.
You know, and just walk around and
Yeah,
watch.
London's amazing. Absolutely.
It's unbelievable.
And Mickey could basically bring together like the very best of every school of tattooing together, and there's like seemingly no fighting.
Yeah. I like to think of it as the World Cup of tattooing.
Yeah, I've never
you
been.
know, that and Paris are the
Yes.
you know, two fucking crazy big tattoo conventions that are pretty sick. Speaking of shows, though, I actually am tentatively booking a tattoo convention for next year. The Brussels tattoo conventions in
Yeah, you
November.
mentioned that.
Really?
That's awesome.
I'm like, November? Well, in fact, I feel confident that I'll be able to get vaccinated by November. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So we'll see. It's a full year away, and
that's exciting. And it's always so much fun to have an international trip to look forward to, no matter how far away it is. It's like get to go to Europe sometime soon.
I'm completely missing it. I could spend another couple of years in the woods, but I'm ecstatic to get back over. And it's a pretty badass convention too. It's the Brussels Tattoo Convention's definitely got I think it's like 10 years ish, and it's pretty sick.
And remind me who runs that one. You told me, and I don't think I knew them.
This fella Kim, and yeah, he's been inviting good talented people there for a long time. He was very inspired by the old Ink and Iron shows over in LA with the hot rods, and it's a fair amount of tattoo culture and counterculture, but tastefully done enough, and it's in a beautiful European venue, and Belgium's just it's beautiful. It's got great triple beers.
Yeah. We went.
Belgian ales, man.
Yeah, we went. My wife and I went to Brussels, Bruges, and Ghent a few years back, and we hit a few of those breweries. We went to the Cantillon Brewery, where everything is open fermentation, like they're all like sour ales, tart ales, and stuff like that. But they don't pitch any yeast. They basically they cook the beer and they pump it into what they call a cool ship. It's basically just like this huge 2-foot deep copper swimming pool, and then they just open the windows, and whatever floats into it, and it's the wild yeast from the environment that actually ferments the beer. So they're not pitching any yeast, from what I understand. But it's not super consistent from one batch to the next, I guess. But it's really, really cool. I mean, really interesting.
You got a pretty nice brewery setup going there. Have you been making use of it, or?
No, I haven't. We moved a couple of years ago, and I have a full basement here that is a perfect fermentation. Would be a great fermentation chamber, and I just haven't brewed much lately. I was talking. I was way into home brewing for a long time, and I was the competition chairman of the Bluff City Brewers for quite a few years, and used to enter all kinds of beer competitions, and I got certified to judge and all that kind of stuff, and I was talking to a couple of guys that we used to all be in the club together, and I was like, what? I never brew anymore, and none of them really do. And we all kind of concluded that it's because you can buy so many beers now that it's like, used to, I would brew, once a month because I couldn't buy Bell's Two Hearted Ale or Dogfish Head. And so I would brew a clone, so I would have it. But now you can just go to the grocery and buy it all. So I think that's probably what slowed home brewing down for a lot of us.
Hey, so we do also have another artist zooming in, Amy. I don't know if you want to unmute yourself, but
hey, how's it going, Amy?
and we actually have a couple people in the chat rooms that were asking who everybody is and where they're all located. So maybe we'll do some introductions, maybe starting with Amy. And
hey, good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
I'm from New Mexico.
Oh, sweet. What?
I've just been working on this piece. Trying to play around
really well. Let me see if I can click
I'm
on full
sorry.
screen. No, you're good. I think it's because I'm on thumbnail. Let me put you on full screen and see. Okay, I can see it better now. Oh yeah, super cool.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah.
Actually, too, since lockdown, I originally was always oil, and since I've been a tattooist, I started tattooing in '99, and I basically was using acrylics more for the expediency of getting that render done, or if I need something within a week or 3, it's easier to get some oil or to get some acrylics done. But I've been playing with oils lately again, and I'm just kind of going through the motions of getting myself used to using oils. I love it because interestingly enough, I used to live in Wisconsin, and that's where I went to college and started tattooing, but I live in New Mexico now, and oils dry super quickly. So it might dry in like a day and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Depending on how much media you use. but it's been a little bit, it's been interesting. I do ceramics as well, and I had the same experience where I learned formally to do clay in the Midwest, and then when I moved here, the drying a piece of ceramic, you could do it in a day instead of a week.
Huh, crazy. Huh. It seems like I was talking to another, now that you say that, I was talking to another painter that was from that area, maybe, yeah, Utah, New Mexico, somewhere around there. And they were talking about the difference in dry. Oh, I know what it was. We were painting in, I was doing a workshop in the Atlanta area, and I forget who it was. It may have been Jeff Hine that was talking about how much different it was painting in Atlanta than in New Mexico or wherever he was, in Utah, I think, just because of the drying time.
Yeah, you never think that I have to cover my palette when I never had to do that before, like my glass palette.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't have to, but my minks would dry almost overnight.
Huh, that's crazy. I love that piece there. I love the kind of atmosphere you're getting in the background. It's super cool.
Thanks. I love light source. I'm kind of trying to get a series of work. I haven't been tattooing most of this shutdown time, so I'm just working on as much art as I can.
Yeah, it's looking great. So where you tattoo at in a shop, big shop, small shop, private space?
Just a small shop. I started in Wisconsin, and I had about 6 people working in a shop. The name of our shop is A-OK Tattoo, and then we moved to New Mexico in 2003, and I worked in Albuquerque for a little while, but we live in Roswell, New Mexico, and so we're kind of a touristy town, and we're pretty isolated. But I've had a few people kind of roll through, guest artist, but I haven't had anybody resident here.
Yeah.
So it's just been mostly me. So I just sell them like just custom tattoos, solid, and I get people from kind of all over that either travel through or they travel through and then come back.
Yeah.
So A-OK Tattoo, we're downtown Roswell. I've
been
there since.
I don't know Roswell. Is that a big city, small town?
Not really, about 60,000.
Okay. Gotcha.
We didn't really think we'd have a go at it until, we were part of the UFO conference scene, and that's why we moved here. And it just happened that when we opened the shop and tried to make it go, it actually was sustainable, just because, like I said, we got tourists, and then, good business is always good business. So we kind of just continued to have a clientele. Before COVID, I was maybe just like, a month or 3 out, depending on the season. And but it's funny, right before COVID started, I was thinking maybe I'd get on the road a little bit.
All right. Yeah, probably weren't the only one. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Say again what you were part of. What scene? What brought you to New Mexico?
Oh, we did UFO conferences.
UFO conferences?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about UFO conferences. What, are there regular conferences?
Like paranormal.
Yeah.
Oh,
are there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's the biggest one I was involved with was in Hollywood. It's called NUFOC. It's the National UFO Conference. That one's been going on for, I want to say, 20 plus years.
Oh, crazy.
But there's what part of the world are you from? I'm sorry.
I'm in Tennessee, Memphis.
Okay. There's one in the Ozarks.
Okay. Yeah.
It's called the Ozark Tattoo, and that's it. Sorry, the
Ozark. Right.
And that one's pretty well attended.
Okay.
We did it kind of before YouTube was there, but we knew YouTube was coming, so a lot of our conferences we kind of since then have made available for free. But I don't know, since 2010 we haven't really been doing them. We did them from 2003 to 2010, and kind of just. The purpose was to get everybody who wrote books and had PhDs all in one room to talk about kind of the questions that we all probably are interested in, and just responding to the people's real questions. Down here, a lot of times they just sell like balloons and paraphernalia, and it's not like people have real questions about, is there life out there, or there's actually a lot of more modern stuff that does happen that most people don't get a whiff of.
Huh. That's really interesting. I'll check that out. I'll look at the Ozarks aren't far from me. Memphis is in West Tennessee, so I can be in Arkansas in 10 minutes. It's straight across the Mississippi River Bridge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We spend a lot of time in Arkansas. It's really lovely. People don't realize how beautiful Arkansas is. Like when you first, like Eastern Arkansas is kind of flat farmland, but once you start getting into the mountains, it's really, you would never guess you were in Arkansas. It's beautiful. Sorry for anyone who lives in Arkansas. We probably don't have, they don't have internet in Arkansas. No one's on this call from Arkansas.
My husband's from Arkansas.
What part?
Fled it not long after his Hot Springs, which is actually a pretty cool historic town.
Yeah. Hot Springs is awesome. We go there. They have that's where the horse races are.
Mm-hmm.
It's really it's like you're stepping back 100 years if you go to that town. It's crazy. They have all these old hot springs where you can go and like get spa treatments and stuff. It's really a cool town. All right, Gabe, what were we saying? Are we going around doing introductions?
Yes, we were doing introductions, and I'll just interject real quick. We do have Kyle's beaming in. He said, I would really love to join and share, but not no joy today. I will be silently enjoying all of your company from South Africa.
All right.
Thanks for
welcome.
Yeah.
He says, thanks for doing these. Can't tell you how much reinventing and Fireside has changed my life.
Oh, wow. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. They've changed my life too.
Agreed wholeheartedly. So yeah, I don't know. Do you want to do Jason, Lissa, and then you?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Let me switch this around. There we go. Get that out of the way for now. So sorry if don't mind the mess behind me, guys, but welcome. My name's Jason. I know I'm kind of backlit here. I wonder if there's a way I can kind of around that.
Yeah, that's a little, well, yeah, that's good.
My name's Jason Leeser. I'm based out of the Inkwell Tattoo in Southampton, PA, which is about 45 minutes north of Philadelphia. My Instagram's at Philly Inc. I signed up for it when there were only like 300,000 people on Instagram. So got to pick whatever username I wanted. It was pretty awesome.
That's cool.
Been tattooing for about 12 years. Really into neo-traditional and illustrative and more of a Japanese kind of style. Love collecting tattoos from people all over, love travel, tattooer stuff.
What kind of style do you work in? Mostly illustrative style, like you're drawing?
Yeah, definitely more illustrative. I forget what I was listening to. I think it was one of Jeff Gogwe's YouTube videos where he was mentioning how, line can be used in so many different ways. And it can really kind of bring a piece together if used correctly. And so ever since I heard that, I was like, whoa, all right, let me see if I can incorporate a little bit more of that into what I do. And, just kind of took off running.
Yeah. It's funny. For whatever reason, I used to really focus. I mean, I came from a traditional tattoo kind of background, so it was, line, shading, color. And I used to really focus and enjoy line work and sculpting lines and building them up. And then I got to a point where I was doing these kind of painterly flowers and people seemed to like them. And I got where I was trying to turn everything just into edges. And I stopped. In a lot of tattoos, I didn't even use a liner until the very end. And I've actually been doing that quite a bit for a few years. And then just last night, I was working on this kind of celestial, like spacey piece that's real soft. And there just weren't enough focal points. So I got a real small little liner out. And I started kind of scumbling and building little edges up. And the next thing I knew, like 2 hours had gone by. And I was just like scumbling up little edges.
Lost in it, man.
Yeah, you get completely lost. And I was like, why don't I ever do this anymore? I really need to start using lines more often.
I find that to just in my own personal perspective and opinion, like the amount of line that you can have in there can really make or break, just about anything. I mean, line, when I say line, I do also mean like a hard edge, very definitive border to a specific area or shape.
Yeah.
Because you can have a visual line or a negative line or, even a piece of line. If you look at guys like James Tex and You know, a lot of the Canadian tattooers are doing it where they'll leave almost like a negative skin break next to a pretty bold line, and then they'll throw some of their complementary background color into that, and then sweep that out to almost give it an atmospheric glow.
We were just talking, Andy was just giving almost that word for word kind of description for in our Find Your Style group the other night. I forget whose drawing we were talking about. It might have been Millions. I don't know if Millions on this or not, but he had done this big kind of ape in a zoo that's on fire. And so the ape is in the foreground, and you have all these warm tones in the background. And then the ape is like mostly brown and then blues and grays in the face. And so I just asked the question. I was like, what about during the tattoo? I was asking Andy, what could he do to make sure that this background, this really warm, bright background doesn't overshadow the gorilla. And he just pulled it onto his iPad and he started kind of like doing exactly what you said. He started playing with edges and like leaving a little fade outside of the outline, and then kind of pulled some of that background color just inside the outer edges of the gorilla, so it looked like he was kind of bathed in the light.
Right.
And it was just like instantly the tattoo. And we were talking about it. There's a hand, a gorilla's hand, and it's kind of in the foreground that already looked really nice. So Million's good at like making stuff look painterly but still believable. But as soon as Andy did that bold outline around it, it looked like a photograph. It just made that ape hand look so real. It was some trickery that I like couldn't even as he was doing it. I was like, man, I don't even know how that worked so well. But it was so good.
Yeah, it's something that I keep going back to all the time. When I was in high school, my art teacher, who, if it wasn't for her, I swear I would never have graduated college ever. I would probably still be there just trying to get drawing and painting down.
Yeah.
But I remember in the back of the room, she had up this little poster. It wasn't very big and it wasn't like super bright and colorful or anything. And you really kind of had to know where to look to see it. But it had some of the 5 basic elements of art, just in generalities on it. And a lot of things are, things that we already think of, like perspective, as one of the basic elements of art. Yeah, you need to know perspective. You need to know your value. You need to know your hue or your chroma. Just simple everyday things that can really make or break any work of art. And it doesn't matter if it's a tattoo or a painting, whether it's a traditional butterfly or, a new school gorilla.
Yeah.
They're basic fundamentals of art that people need to know. And one of those that I remember was always line. Yeah. I think it was line, form, value, hue, and perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so a couple people in the chat room here. Tommy B is in Northeast PA, about 2 hours north of Jason.
Oh, okay.
And,
nice. Welcome, Tommy.
And Seth Mushrush is in the chat room. He's another badass painter.
Hey, Seth. Guy. You probably don't remember me, Seth, but I remember you vividly. I do. From way back when I was an apprentice, believe it or not.
Did you work together?
No. He came and did a guest spot at one of the studios I apprenticed at.
Okay.
I went through 2 of them. I went through the first one, which was kind of basically they wanted money, and then I went and finished it up with someone else who had been around a lot longer and really knew what they were doing and was willing to kind of pick up where everyone else left off. So, but he I won't ever forget, he came and I think it was a snake and a chrysanthemum. Maybe it was a snake and some waves that he tattooed that just blew my mind in how he did it. So, cool. Hi, Seth. Long time no see.
That's awesome. All right. Melissa, you haven't done an introduction yet today. You did the other day, I know, but.
So, hi, everyone. I'm Melissa. I've been tattooing about 5 years. I'm located out in Staten, Oregon. Find me on Instagram at MAC_MISSA, MacMissa. I've been doing a lot of cover-ups lately. I typically tend to do a lot of cover-up, but more so than usual.
Me too.
I like the challenge. It's a lot of fun. As far as style, I haven't really delved deep enough to really have a specific style, at least that I'm noticing. But there's a lot of people in my area that are like, oh yeah, I saw your stuff over here, you know. So it's one of those, I don't quite know that I have a style just yet.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of times other people recognize something that you do before you do.
Yeah.
Or most often, I think.
So that's a little bit about me. Getting a lot from all of the reinventing stuff. Fireside I've watched for years.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do some more podcast interviews. We haven't done any just because we normally do them on the road. And I tried for a little while. I was doing Zoom style ones, but I don't love them. They're not for me. So I'm ready to get back on the road and do some podcasts. I'm really like struggling. We're having a hard time finding stuff to even put out. I've been doing those little 3-minute to better tattooing things lately, and my Allie, my assistant, she does all the social media, does everything for Fireside, and every like Sunday night she's like, all right, what comes out this week? I'm like, your guess is as good as mine. Give me an idea. I have no idea. I've said everything.
Actually, Jake, I've got a few ideas for you as far as
oh, that would be awesome. I would love to hear some.
I've got 1,001.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, no, seriously, like some
Okay.
interesting stuff. We'll talk offline. I'll send you a DM. And
yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love just like a bullet point list. That's what I need. Just some some ideas.
I mean, I can email that to you right now.
No, yeah, let's talk offline. I'd love to. I you get to a point where you just I don't know. Sometimes you just have these kind of like I don't know, like lulls in your creativity. I mean, not just for drawing, but just in like, I'm looking at, I have tons of footage, that's where a lot of the 3-minute videos come from and all the technique videos. I just record tattoos with no real purpose whenever I'm doing it. And I'll go back and watch footage and I'll be like, oh, that's a point I could make. And I'll just clip that into something. But now I just sit and I watch footage and I'm like, yeah, I've already talked about that. I already talked about that too. Talked about everything.
Not everything. There's a whole new. It's a fractal. The universe is a fractal. Hey, real quick, we've got Tattoos by SJ is in the chat room. Good morning,
SJ?
everyone.
What's up, SJ?
Morning, SJ.
SJ is our friend. She's in the Find Your Style group, and she's doing a badass owl sleeve that is it's super cool. It's like this owl kind of swooping in on this oil lantern, and the oil's kind of like spilled out of the lantern, so it's like started a fire, and there's a little like mouse that's on the lantern trying to get away, but the owl is sweeping in on the mouse. It's cool. There's a lot going on. It's super cool.
Nice. She says about that, the Fireside Workshop has been incredible. The Fireside Workshop has been incredible! Exclamation point. I've learned a ridiculous amount of information from it and can't wait to finish up our designs.
Yeah.
And then we have Jordan Ruckus from the Tattoo Collecting Podcast has joined. Real quick, I meant to say this before, Amy, too. If you can turn your phones or cameras sideways, then everyone gets a fuller picture. And if you can't, look at that. How easy was that? I should have fucking said it anyways.
I so forgot my stand at the shop. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. And for all the podcast interviewees in the room here, that's a perfect example of why you're supposed to point it out right away. Anyways,
right.
Thank you. That looks great. Looks much better.
Yeah, you're right, man. I made that mistake for so many years of thinking we would fix something in post-production. Being like, well, their audio, they keep like catching their mic with their shirt and it's roughly, and I don't say anything because I don't want to break up the conversation. And then the interview ends up completely unusable.
You got to stop it like right there and just fix the problem and then move on. Hey, we also have Nina says good morning from Idaho. So it's pretty early there.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah. It is it's almost time for me to check out. I've got to go get strong. Is Guy jumping on today, or do you know? Have you talked to him?
I don't know. I have not talked to him, no. But you never know.
Yeah. I asked Russ last night if he was going to be joining today as well. He said he couldn't make any promises, but
yeah,
the magic happens. When the magic happens, right?
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
when all of
Yeah.
the planets align just perfectly.
Just need to pay attention and make sure you're watching the stars to catch it.
Yeah, it was so. When I talked to Russ last week, like I said, after he jumped on here, we jumped on the phone probably Wednesday or so, and he said he was going to try to start jumping in on these in the mornings when he could. I think we had talked a little bit about just ways to support each other. All of us support each other. All the people putting out quality tattoo information, which there's quite a few people I think these days that are putting out quality information, but.
There's a load of shit too, man. Like
There's a
I've
load
been
of shit,
studying
too.
the.
I wasn't gonna say that, but there is.
I mean, for needle jig, I've been like studying all the videos and kind of like at one point I spent a full day just watching the most popular tattoo videos on YouTube. Right, the whole
what a
goal was
mistake.
who's got the numbers, and then I did narrow it down specifically to like the popular tattooer interest ones, right? Fucking the next 2 months, my feed was fucking trashed, and there's
That's
just so many people
worse.
that are like, I learned how to tattoo on YouTube, so I feel obliged to teach everybody what I learned. And it was like, no, you did not learn how to tattoo on YouTube.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right.
But let's see. We also have Jake Bovee says good morning.
Good
Doesn't say
morning.
where he's from.
Morning,
but,
guys.
he says,
Good morning. All right. Well, I'll share. I didn't make it too far, but I'll share what I've got because I'm about to have to break out of here. But you guys, obviously, feel free to keep rolling. Let me screen share for just a second.
I could keep it rolling for another half hour. Well,
Yeah,
half hour.
Yeah. So let's see. Here's where I am right now for this little outer arm piece.
Nice.
We'll try to do like, yeah.
Sick, dude.
Thank you.
Is that-
Thank you. I'm going to try to do like some subtle transition from the purples to the more magentas, outer flowers to inner flower, like more magenta as it goes in and more kind of purple, cooling off as it comes out. And I'll try to find a couple of spots to do those little glows. So this is for Wednesday. Hopefully she likes it.
I like that
Oh,
Thanks.
dented cool switch there. It's
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you.
Love the muted
Right.
palette too.
Yeah, thanks. I've been trying to do a lot more of that. It's easy to go overboard with it, and you end up, super muted. We were talking the other night too, in our workshop in the Find Your Style group about staying muted, and then you think you're going to have this one little punch of color, but then you end up accidentally using like too rich of a color, like maybe it's a really bright color, but it's too dark, and it just it just makes the whole tattoo look heavy. Andy was saying that he stays super light for a long time, like and waits till the end to go dark. And if you look at any of his prep work, like his tattoos at the end of gray, at the end of the black and gray, it's true. He doesn't use a ton of black in that. He uses just a lot of medium gray, and then he punches the darks at the end, which is something I might try to adopt and see if it helps me in that respect. Because I do have a bad habit of, I think what's going to be my punch ends up being too rich, and it's like, that didn't punch like I wanted it to. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. I'll catch you guys next week. Happy drawing.
Awesome. Have fun, Jake.
Thank
Well,
you,
thanks,
man.
Jason. That's
Thank you.
Fireside Tattoo Network, and catch the YouTubes. We'll get that YouTube
thanks.
connection happening maybe
Yeah,
before
that's
the last minute.
That's my fault. I apologize. I was you reached out to me and said let's get this thing fixed so it works, and I waited until this morning. So my fault. I'll definitely
We'll do it like if we do it tomorrow or the next day, then
Okay.
the event has days to catch people.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Let's be sure to do that. That sounds great. I'll reach out. Thanks everybody. Have a good week.
Take
Cheers.
care, man.
All right. Bye.
And then Jordan, do you want to introduce yourself? I'll spotlight your video, and you can let us know what's going on, what you're doing.
Well, hi guys. I am Jordan Rookus. I work out at Red Tree here in Columbus, Ohio. Me and Vaughn Baker do the Tattoo Collectors podcast together. Yeah, nice chill podcast where we just pretty much just sit and chill and smoke weed and talk about tattoo collecting for the tattoo collector and the tattoo artist. But what I'm working on here is just this guy.
Nice.
Sweet, man. Is that oil, acrylic?
This is all oil.
Nice.
Yeah, it's actually so I know a lot of people like to make sculptures and stuff before, like I've done it before, making sculptures before I start working. This I actually did. I used a lot of computer stuff for it. So I used VR to sculpt out like this entire form, like this like female thing coming out of this waterfall. I like set up this whole scene in a VR Oculus Medium and just kind of created a ZBrushy type, I don't know, material of this, and just got some really nice realistic light studies. Basically stuck like a light in the center of its forehead and just got a really nice light study of everything, and then projected that onto canvas, and I've just been kind of painting it. But what it was then was just a lot rougher. I have you guys can kind of see like on my Wacom, this was the actual, I got a big glare on it.
No, we got the idea.
That was the actual scene I set up in the VR.
Nice.
And painted on this. I don't always do that. It's just something new I was trying to play with and adopt. And I love doing sculptures of lights, when getting light studies on sculptures. And I figured it was like, I don't know, why not?
Yeah.
One of my goals is to get you and Guy together to do an Aitchison inspired VR world.
Oh man.
Dude, that's the kind of I'm trying to do that stuff right now. That'd be so cool. I'd be so down. Every time I'm talk up about VR, and I know he's stoked about it, but he's got the eye, and so it's like hard for him to see the whole like stereoscopic.
Yeah, that's okay. It's not hard for us.
Right.
And he makes it look so fucking badass. If you were to make his 3D world there, and then you put on VR, that shit's just so awesome. That's my next one. I got a drone for one of my clients. The next thing is the Oculus.
You end up getting a drone?
Yeah, for a cannabis farm, and want to get all those nice slow pans of the plants. It's pretty amazing, but also you need to practice with that shit because those drones are not easy.
I bought that like the Mavic 2 this couple months ago, and that thing's a lot of fun, but I crashed it 2 different times and scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I have to be very careful. Like I said, this one's for a client, so if I break it, then I buy it, and I don't want to buy it if it's broken.
Oh,
so
for someone else.
Yeah. For a client, but let's see here real quick. Mickey Schlick is in the chat room. He's in Montana, I imagine. Badass illustrator type. Also, J Tattoo. Good morning from Jacksonville, Florida.
Good morning.
Yo.
So, Jordan, I don't know if you were listening, but Amy is in Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh yeah, I was hearing some of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of experience with UFOs, Amy.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. Meaning you've seen or you've studied?
So where to begin? What I lived in Michigan. I lived in a town called Rockford, and in Rockford I lived on a lake called Bostwick Lake. And on Bostwick Lake, I seen UFOs. There was a good 5 years where I've probably seen easy over 100. So many different kinds. I mean, I was honestly like, I was almost plagued by it. Like it was a thing in my life for a long time. I've actually had a chance to talk to quite a few different UFO researchers about it.
Who have you talked to about it?
This name's Carmen. He made that movie, the Hidden Hand.
Okay.
Netflix. I actually met him out at Alex Grace, out at Cosm in New York.
Okay.
But yeah,
Did you ever? There's. Have you ever heard of the mutual?
I talked to him for a while and other people, but those weren't ever anything like in like where they really took down all my reports and everything. It was more or less just like conversation at that point.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, to even
What did
start
you
with.
think was like, if you had to put your finger on what you thought was, well, it was unidentified, but what made it be anomalous to you?
I mean, they're not because they were, I mean, extremely like so. What one should I start with? So first, one of the experiences I had, I was on a boat at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I had two super bright lights in the sky. So you could see the moon. There's a full moon. You actually could see the aurora borealis, which was really wild. I've never seen the aurora borealis before, but so you might think that, oh, maybe these were something that had to do with that. So what I'm looking at are two orange glowing orbs in the sky. I'm on a boat with 4 other people, middle of the night. We're not super fucked up or anything. We're smoking weed, hanging out. I'm probably like 6, 7 years ago. And so I'm watching them, and I've already seen a lot of UFOs at the time. I'm seeing over this lake. I'm telling all my friends about it when I see them. And like a lot of people are seeing them with me. But so I got one friend who's never seen them, but I've always told him about them, told him about them. And he was on the boat with me, and I'm like, hey, you see those 2 lights in the sky? Well, just keep an eye on those. That's super weird. They've just been chilling there for like a half hour. They haven't moved at all. I was trying to see if they're planets. I don't know anything. Definitely not planets. Really weird. So another hour goes by. They're still in the sky, and I noticed that they both kind of just have these little tiny trails to them. And I'm like, oh shit, that's fucking really weird. And I'm just trying to make my eyes like see what's going on right there. Like it just because nothing can do that. And so they end up just like doing a full circle into each other. So the 2 dots made trails into a perfect circle until they were just like a laser perfect circle in the black sky. And then you look up and aurora borealis was up there, but this was like did not look like aurora borealis in any way. This was like 2 objects, like little beams of light that just went from being 2 dots in the sky in the same spot after like an hour and a half, 2 hours, to finally coming back into a perfect circle. Or not finally, but for the first time ever going into a perfect circle. So like transforming into 2 dots into 1 laser circle that then stayed there for, I don't know, as long as you could look in the sky.
You were
So that
over
was
Lake Michigan?
It was one of many really weird ones. But I don't know. Each time I could sit and tell you a +minute story on it.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, that that was cited. That kind of stuff was cited. Like, have you ever seen the Mexican UFO like fleets that aircraft were actually picking up within the last 10 years or so?
In the past, I've seen like big ones I follow now are like David Fravor, and then like a lot of like the military UFOs that have been seen. So some of the fleets, like the Mexican ones and the Mexican Air Force, where they've seen like 4 or 5 of them in the sky.
Yeah.
I don't know where I've seen videos of ones where they have like 30 of them in the sky, but I don't know how real those were or not.
Well, have you seen, this is just the last couple of years. Now they have these like drone, they've been doing it during COVID, like over in I believe in Asia for, like to replace fireworks. They're doing like drone. I'm sure Gabe, you know about that, where they're doing like formations of drones and they're all.
Oh yeah, that shit's
programmed.
so fucking. I mean, it's so like I said, it's a computer generated fireworky kind of visions in the sky that fucking.
But it's just drone technology, and I mean,
that's just scary. I mean, you think about how much damage you could do with a drone swarm.
Oh my.
Not to like go straight to that, but like it's beautiful, but it's pretty intense technologies, and it's all just a matter of scale. And you can get those tiny little ones, right? So yeah.
It's so new and it's so available to the public. So all the innovations have yet to be made with them.
So if you ever care to get to the bottom, like do a real report, I shouldn't say if you care to, but there is an organization called MUFON, which is Mutual UFO Network, and that's been going on since the 60s, since they closed down Project Blue Book from the government. You familiar with Project Blue Book?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, so it ended in like the 60s. It was just a government program that would collect information on unidentified things, and then it made a final report in '69, and I think MUFON cropped up in the year after that. So they have this system or organized group of people that have a little bit of like field experience where they know how to collect enough data, and then they put it all on a database. And then, like, let's say you saw something and it was anomalous and you went into MUFON Network and just reported it. Well, let's just say 12 other people saw it. Well, then you get kind of the forensic evidence of that, and you can at least have it on record. And then sometimes they're like, oh, there was a weather balloon in the area or there was not, and then they it kind of has a little bit of a relevance. And sometimes, seeing something from one point of view is one thing, but if you can extrapolate with a few points of view, it actually gives a bigger story. And so then they have a report for MUFON every year, and
Right.
and they will be like, this is how many anomalous sightings we've had. So it's just kind of interesting, but
I
might
had a
corroborate what you're.
or that you could that I would like see them report it to. I probably put a good like 30 of them in on that, but I never like called anyone or did anything more than that.
Yeah. And the truth is it's unidentified, right? Where it comes from, if it's from another planet with aliens on it that like eat, sleep, and shit, is to be determined. But that's kind of the jump a lot of people like to make immediately.
Come down. I think they're alien drones, if they're anything. I don't think they would be in them. I think that's personal theory, total personal theory. No educated guess, as opposed to the fact that these things, do crazy shit in the sky, and if they had a being in them, you'd think they'd get all thrown around. But
and you said they were amber, which right? Which you said they had a golden glow or like an amber glow.
Those ones did that I've seen. Yeah, I've honestly almost every spectrum I've probably seen in every color.
Okay, yeah. To me, amber's there's a lot of things that are cited, but there's a lot of amber glowing lights, and those are the ones that I think have a little bit more to be.
I think those are the more prevalent ones. What do you guys?
I used to be a UFO abductee like counselor with zero credentials, but just somebody for like a hotline for them to call, because they're kind of people that see UFOs often don't want to share, and it puts them in like a social ghetto in some cases. It used to, at least 20 years ago. Now it's kind of mainstream.
I like your idea of the robot UFOs. For me, it definitely feels like if we can't even cross continents without devastating people with, viruses and shit, there's no way something's coming from another planet and we're fucking breathing easy. But I like, it makes a lot of sense. Robot kind of instruments to observe makes more sense than, actual alien beings. So.
Right. You think they'd have more capabilities in a drone than they would with their bodies inside something. And they're taking such a big risk. There's a big risk factor involved here, going to planet to planet.
Yeah, it depends on how much it really costs energy and resource-wise, I suppose.
Well, as like a little blip and to just be here and there. That might just be easy.
Well, you guys know that we have we can teleport, if you will, now. Like, or I say teleport, I mean, I guess it's teleporting. They literally moved was it a photon from Asia to a satellite within the last years?
That's going.
Yeah, you're talking about quantum teleportation.
Yes, sir.
I stay up to date on technology. I come from in a previous life, I was part of was like an IT guru at a university. So try to stay up to date with all of that stuff, and what they can do now with quantum computing is it's scary. And this is what we know about. This isn't the technology that we've never even heard of. But if you want to talk about the potential of true AI and true next level automated intelligence, it's almost on us.
Want to talk about that shit all day.
Yeah, it's on us. We're about 20 or 30 years behind.
Skynet is real. Skynet is real.
I think that's kind of like what's definitely going to be next is, whole like AI supremacy thing going on. And then we'll be
I really true. And if you know what, if that happens, I'll be that guy sitting down inside a Faraday cage, hand poking tattoos. You know, I'll like the classic sailor drawings, man. I'll just hand poke everything. That way I don't have to worry about the electrical fields or Skynet finding out where I am, or, you know, but I won't let it stop me. I'll figure out a way to survive.
You know, the only way to stop a bad guy with AI is a good guy with AI.
That's what I'm saying, Gabe.
Oh, guys, I got that one straight from Guy.
Oh, totally. That sounds Elon Muskish.
Right? Right?
Because he's all like, if you can't beat him, join him. But he totally has submitted stuff to the government to literally stop AI or do it with some type of a global agreement. The thing is, just like everything, like we're finding out with these, like this year, people, despite it being internationally unethical, there's still countries that'll do it. So they kind of have to just keep up with it so that they are on top of it, despite it.
Yeah. What about you guys follow the genetics and the? I mean, for me, there's the other real crazy information transformation that's going on. You know, and we're able to start editing the genetic codes of shit. I mean, we could literally fucking edit the genetic codes of shit now.
Gabe, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news here, but we've been able to do that for about 10 years.
Yeah, well, so where's it going to be in 20? You know, like at this point.
So what it's going to be is,
but CRISPR isn't 20 years old. That's only like 4 or 5 years old.
We're going to be genetically modified.
The precursor to CRISPR has been around for over 10.
Sure, I mean, and we've been obviously, using nature to genetically alter,
exactly
the course of things forever. I'm not against it. I'm just saying, like the advancements that are happening, and again mixed with the AI, right? So yeah, so we a lot of this stuff is still has been happening, but we've never been able to have the immense data set of the genetic codes, matched with the algorithms that can figure out at scale where these patterns are. I mean, it feels to me like we're about to enter in a transformation somewhat akin to the digital one, and I mean, again, as a computer programmer kind of a guy, for me the possibilities of really being able to get in there and being able to manipulate the programming of the genetics is I mean, again, it just becomes more and more real. We'll see, I guess, right? It's one way or another. Hopefully, we'll see.
So what you're saying is I should go out and try to buy up as many Walkman as I can so I can start making homemade hand poke tattoo machines. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, if you want,
you need to find a way to solar power them and have a battery pack that you never have to connect up to electricity.
Actually, there was something I came across on Instagram the other day, and it was a guy that makes hand-powered, hand-wind tattoo machines. So it's all mechanical. There's no electronic components to it whatsoever. And I'm pretty sure it works off of the same principle as like an automatic watch with an internal spring that pushes basically an offset cam to drive a needle bar. And I saw it and it was just fascinating to me. And I was like, that would make a lot of sense if you could get that into a smaller form factor. But, as far as like finding out some way to do it without electronics, there's got to be a way.
Yeah. That'll be you.
Well,
the world, man.
Aware of like
I'll be ripping off
Starlink
arm for a tattoo machine.
Well, if you ever find yourself out in this neck of the woods, you let me know. We'll put our minds together. We'll come up with a way to do it. No electronics needed, just pure mechanical power.
Figure it out, man. Like the atomic clock of tattoo machines.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Completely sustainable, biodegradable if need be. We'll find a way to do it. Oh, Jordan, you're at Red Tree, right?
Yeah.
You work with a guy named Dante?
Dante's my favorite too.
Yeah, Dante was actually staying with me for a while before he moved out to Ohio.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, we go back
Alright.
to the Puerto Rico show.
No shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, super awesome dude.
Yeah, I'll have to let him talk to you.
Yeah, let him know I said hi.
What's your last name?
Leeser, Leeser.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, if you tell him Jason from Pennsylvania says hi, he'll know exactly who you're talking about.
Nice. Yeah, I will. I'll be seeing him today.
Yeah, and tell him I'm still getting some of his mail too. So I'm not going to go into which type of magazine subscriptions he was getting, but
Nice. But it was definitely Hustler.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I was like, but they're not saying, you're not saying it at all.
I can neither confirm nor deny anything of that nature.
Is anybody into the skeptic culture there? Speaking of UFOs and AI and stuff.
Skeptic? What in wait, like they're not real? And there's
Well,
not.
it's basically like a crew of people that push push on everything as hard as they can. Very dedicated to fact-based.
Definitely.
Debunking or slash. But a fair amount of it's also.
I would say I float on those lines. A lot of people who say they're into aliens and shit will say that, but at the same time, like I could definitely shuffle off a lot of my experiences as potentially being something like that. But I don't want to just say something is something because I am into something. I definitely want to know what's going on.
The best attitude to take is that.
So like
that,
ghosts, ghosts. I've never seen. I don't know. I like to believe in spirits and stuff like that, but I'm kind of a skeptic on it.
Yeah. What's the podcast? I think Marcus Leonard turned me on to Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. It's fucking great. The Skeptic's Guide on the podcasts. Okay, so I'll just tell this quick story. It's kind of fucked up. I don't believe in ghosts either, but we were going for a home birth, and after like 2 or 3 days, we ended up having the midwives called up. So I don't know, the chiropractor to cancel their appointment, and the chiropractor's wife was like, "I think that's the baby that's talking to me," right? And again, I'm talking like I'm introducing this story straight after I'm talking about the Skeptic's Guide. Like I definitely am a computer programmer, engineering kind of a person more than a Reiki-ish. I mean, I believe in. Oh, here, I'll tell the rest of the story. I mean, obviously, there's lots of energies that we cannot perceive that other animals can perceive. So clearly, there's a lot of shit going on that our senses are not prepared to interpret. But that said, so what happens is some lady calls up our midwife at noon, and is like, "How's the baby?" And the midwife's like, "It's not here yet." And the woman's like, "Well, that's really strange because the baby told me clearly, or at least the baby that's talking to me, said that, the mother was in stress, but everything's fine. They're just waiting for 11/11 to be born." And we're all like, what? When they said this, I was like, fucking, what? This is crazy. But this shit, it was like 12:30. I'm like, there's no way this shit's going on for another 11 hours. Like, it's just not. We're going to the hospital and shit, like in an hour or two if, the baby doesn't get born at home. And so then, like at 2 or 3, the Reiki lady or energetics, I'm not exactly sure the particular practice, but she's like, "Can I come over and do a treatment on my wife who's having, in the middle of 3 days, now 3.5 days of labor?" And sure, yeah, whatever, join the party. We already have the acupuncturist, and come on over. And so she comes over, she does like a treatment, on my wife. Cecilia was like pushing up when we're, supposed to be coming out. So we're like, fuck, we got to go to the hospital and whatnot, have this happen there. So we go to the hospital about 6 o'clock. They check us in. looks like it's not happening. We're going, C-section, getting the drugs, whatever. At this point, we just want to have a baby safe and sound, and we check into room 11, right? So, they're like, oh, room 11, that's something. They said 1111. I'm like, room 11 is not 1111, whatever the fuck. So to make a long story short, about 8 o'clock, they come in to do the operation. But they're like, oh, wait a minute, actually, it looks like you're dilated. All you have to do is push. So, everything gets all set up, whatever, they push. And then when Cecilia comes out, I catch her, we check out, whoa, this is amazing. Woo. And the doctor's like, okay, well, we could mark her time of birth 11/11. And it was like, okay, well, now that is fucked. That's fucked because, and it took me a long time. I mean, and I have to reconcile this and somehow I have to reconcile it, and for me, I'm like, I have to reconcile this shit with, how do the spirit communications or this communication system work and adjust for daylight savings time, for instance. But upon reflection, I've been thinking about this for a very long time. My thought is actually that the human brain is obviously very keen at interpreting what it doesn't understand into a language that it does. So what a lot of the DM, everyone's got a different DMT trip. Some people see the aliens, some people see the fairies, some people see the angels, or maybe that's not a,
I see dead people.
Yeah, I get it.
I guess I'm not. That's not a drug I'm actually have any experience. I shouldn't say anything. The point being is, I know that the human brain fills in the blanks, right? So maybe if it's getting communication about a time and place, the brain fucking adjusts for daylight savings time. I guess you don't have enough of a sample size to test if we have like half of the people know that it's daylight savings time and half of them don't. Point being is, I believe that there's energies and whatnot. I can't reconcile that story really in my head, but I swear it's fucking true.
Right. There's some missing links in the universe where some weird spiritual shit happens. I don't know what that is, but I feel like you you touched that, or whoever that Reiki lady was, she touched that. That's weird, man. That's cool though.
Yeah.
Like, those things that just kind of makes you think and always kind of turns you towards that just a little bit, or at least turns your head sideways when you look at that stuff as opposed to just being complete skeptic.
Yeah, well, the Alex Gray visionary artwork and Guy's artwork, they're often, a representation of what energies or forces at work that are intangible might possibly, could look like, and yeah, so it's, for me, like a spirit would be something akin to like, whatever the spirit of love or the spirit of hate or torture or whatever it might be, like as it bounces and catches with person to person, that's how, for me, that would be what I don't know, the definition of spirits, but I'm definitely not like a religious kind of person in any sense of the imagination. Anyways, I yield the floor. I've been talking enough.
What do you say?
I said, I'm going to be quiet now. I've been talking enough.
Oh no, well, I think we all enjoy it.
See, I'm a definite believer that there are things out there that we can't even begin to possibly fathom. Like our minds just are not built to really perceive and understand. Look at it, perfect example is look at how big the universe is. Okay, the actual space. Okay, our minds are not built to really truly comprehend that vast of a size.
Yeah. But what about this, right? We're starting to be able to grow organs, right? So we're able to get into the genetic coding and build, we're able to create organs, right? So, in 20 years, we might be able to create, a warehouse factory full of Einstein, dense brains that talk, and communicate, a genetically, a brain printer,
there's no doubt in my mind that we could eventually do that, as so long as there are people out there willing to break ethical laws and code to move beyond and compete with, someone else that might be willing to jeopardize their ethics.
Well, what's unethical about growing a brain? Like if you're not like killing people or monkeys or something, if you're, I mean, I guess.
What if it?
Create a portfolio. You're gonna have to show.
There's no doubt in my mind that stuff is going to happen that is going to be way beyond our control. That's going to, you know, in some way, shape, or form, adversely affect us. What really helps me personally sleep at night is the fact that I know that if I were in that position, ethically speaking, I would never allow it to happen. You know, and you know, not that that really means anything
That you wouldn't allow.
to anyone, but my own personal ethics are what help me sleep at night. You know, but is that going to be possible in the future? Oh yeah. As well as quantum teleportation, which we've already started to mess around with.
I think all bad
Quantum computing, which is going to lead to artificial intelligence, which we're already starting to get into. You know, photonics, which is computing with photons instead of electrons. That's going to be another evolution in computing science. I mean, this is all stuff that's going to happen. It's inevitable. We as human beings keep needing in and of ourselves to push the envelope and to advance to the next stage, because we're not happy with where we are and we feel like we have to do more. If we were to just sit back and accept where we are, and I'm not saying be content with where we are, but if we were to just sit back and say, enjoy what we have for the time being and say, okay, you know what? We've been using this for 50 years. Let's start looking into the next iteration of it. As opposed to, it's been 6 months. We don't have a new product that's better and faster and smaller. What's going on? You know, so until we can get to the point where we're no longer really concerned with advancement on an industrial level.
See, I don't think that'll ever happen, because I think that's just what people do is they got to advance things, and capitalism makes it so you got to come out with something better constantly. It's like as long as capitalism and technology exists, they're always going to be pushed to the next level, I think.
Oh, and you know what? I'm not going to debate that in any way, because it's 100% true. Capitalism is what drives the innovation and the technology push. You know, I think we're going to start to get to a point where we have to sit back and ask ourselves, should we really develop this next technology? Not can we, but should we? You know, and I think that's something that's going to take a lot of people standing up to say, hey, listen, this is not ethically right to do. Don't do this.
Yeah, I think the future clear stuff, kind of where that's really going to sit. I think that's all going to come back around again for people and realize, oh my God, new bombs, you know, that are carried by some fucking crazy drone swarms or something, you know, just some new technology that's going to hit. But I think the nuclear warfare is going to be it. And it's like, should we make this technology or not? But you know, it's going to happen.
See, I don't even think nuclear warfare is going to be an issue, because at that point in time that we've developed that kind of high technology, nuclear warfare is going to almost become obsolete.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is like, it's like taken to the next level. So whatever that, maybe you got robots that have nuclear capabilities. And like, that's sending in as little nuclear powered robots that got quantum computing AIs that can exist in video game cyber realms as well as the real world.
Yeah, it's going to be a scary world that we're living in, and that's why I'm happy I'm just a tattooer.
Right.
Well, you guys have heard of Starlink, of course, like the Elon Musk, you know, he's going to get into doing the Neuralink after that.
Yeah. Got the whole company.
And that's going to be the scene you're talking about, where they're supplementing. And at some point, it won't be just, you know, a reasonable thing that all of us could accept would be, you know, someone has a bad heart, so let's give them a new heart. Someone's brain makes them have Alzheimer's, so let's do a Neuralink to take away the Alzheimer's. Well, you know, the end result of that is, well, his brain is still alive, so let's give him a whole new body. And at that point, you're going to have to trust that they take your information and actually get it into that brain. And I think that's when it's going to hit the fan, where you're going to be trusting them with your soul. And there's a good movie, Timothy Leary's Dead. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but it's an interesting movie about that.
I thought you were talking about Ghost in the Shell.
Okay.
Because that's based off of the same concept.
Yeah. Okay. I should check. I mean, I know of that, but I just haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's entertainment, obviously, but it's not, anything.
Good concepts.
Yeah, it's good concepts and definitely future concepts. There's also there are a couple of, or what was it, a series first? I think it was a series first. It was it's on Netflix. I forget the name of it now.
The Altered Carbon.
Yes.
The one where they had those things in the back of their neck that they had to like rip out to kill them.
Yeah, where that is like, your consciousness.
It just like grew new bodies or something like that. I spent years that, but that movie definitely had me thinking about those concepts.
Absolutely. We will get there one day.
And if you think body art has been a little bit of a experimental industry that has even some of these first implants they're doing, like on military, they're putting these small implants in. Well, they allowed for piercers to be one of the people to do that, like people that do surface piercings and anchors and stuff.
Really? See, that I was not aware of.
And if you think about what have they been doing for years, is trying to see what we can keep under skin and that it won't reject. It will be relevant. And it's honestly kind of like it's for an artistic point of, or people are collecting art or changing a body mod for like a aesthetic or artful reason, and then it's really acceptable. A form of just.
Yeah, I know people have been playing around with biohacking for quite a while, using different types of implants and.
It's the new transhumanism.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually considering for a while getting some magnets implanted in my hand just to see what it was like, but I decided it was a little too much for me.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about getting our level of cybernetic augmentations that we have right now, but in the future, I'm down for it. I figure we only got 100 years to live. I mean, at most, why not?
I don't know. Have fun with it, man.
To get cybernetic augmentations again on this in this realm. So if I have the opportunity, I would love to. Only if they're worth it, though. I mean, if it makes my life any less or more inconvenient, no. But if it's only a plus.
Yeah, hi. I'd like the porn star package, please.
Right, please. I'd like to have my own cybernetic vagina and penis.
Yeah, I'll pick one or the other. I think having both would just be too much for me.
I'm too busy. I'd like to have both.
I've got too many things to do. I can only manage one at a time.
What would your cybernetic augmentation be?
X-ray vision.
Would it? That was you.
I'd find some way to get some type of X-ray vision augmentation. Not that would ever really come in handy, but I just think it would be cool to have.
Yeah, people on the fly. It could be a weapon.
Yeah, but it's like I would get that more or less to see, like, to go to a Picasso museum and look at like the underpainting, the various layers of paint that he would put on, and be like, I see. Other than that, it wouldn't really have a purpose. Maybe like an extra arm or an extra 2 arms. That would be cool.
Don't you think it kind of sets you up to be the perfect like Manchurian candidate?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because no one ever said that you would have control over these augmentations.
Exactly.
But hey, as long as I can tattoo, I'll be happy. That's my primary concern.
Right. I think that's one of mine would be like a cybernetic arm or at least wrist. So I can just like keep, at least I know I can at least keep that up until I'm dead.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't mind having like an extra arm, like a third arm, just so that I could get in there, stretch with those two, and then I could really get some nice, like, brush type movements in with the other arm.
I feel that. I feel that. I think an extra appendage would be probably my
It
biggest
could
one.
come in handy sometimes. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, all the
Carrying
times.
groceries in. I mean, come on, who couldn't use an extra arm for that?
I would go chemical though, like more like Doc Ock style as opposed to elbows.
I see. It's a good
And
idea.
then quantum computers. Quantum computing AIs.
Okay, so I do need to get prepared for the next stream. Maybe does everyone want to kind of just show off what they're working on for like a minute, and then we'll pick up again next week.
Sure thing.
Someone's got to go first.
Well, here, I don't know if you guys can see well. I'm behind my phone, but
Yep, let me spotlight it for you. Okay. So
Nice.
thanks, man. Yeah, we got
and
some
then,
water over here. Oh,
yeah,
keep
go
going.
for it. After you let people know what you've been up to and what you're working on, let them know how to find you.
Ooh, sweet.
First,
Well,
you could carry on your thought.
oh yeah. So you can find me at Jordan Rookus Tattoo on Instagram or jordanrookustattoo.com or tattoocollecting.com for our podcast, and do this on the Reinventing platform at 12 every Thursday. This next Thursday, I'm gonna be at Guy's getting tattooed, so I think we'll probably be tuning in. I'll be there, and I think Fawn will be out here doing it. So we'll see how that's gonna go. But that should be fun because I'll be getting tattooed, and so you guys will be able to hear me in pain.
Awesome.
But then what I was just gonna say about the pain, I would go into some dumb details about it all. Y'all can take over now.
I'll go next. Cool. So just getting a little bit more progress down. I'm mapping out all the scale work now. Just getting that to flow right. I completely reworked the interior of the chrysanthemum in this general area. Just after last night's chrysanthemum seminar done by Tattoo Smart, that was awesome. So that really made me go back through and rethink certain things. So now that I've got that redone, I'm just going through, mapping out the scales, probably get that laid out pretty soon. Maybe throw like a leaf or two in there somewhere just as like background foliage, just to give you an idea of placement. Now I'm just working on like a sleeve concept for anyone really that might be interested in getting it.
Awesome, man.
Just playing around with some ideas. I'd love to do some more snakes and mums and really get into some of the nitty gritty detail in it. So, just started working on this amongst other various projects.
Awesome.
You guys can find me at Philly Inc. on Instagram. I work at a place called the Inkwell Tattoo in Southampton, PA, just north of Philadelphia. Feel free to drop me a DM or shoot me an email or anything like that if you guys want. And I'll be more than happy to chat, or maybe I'll end up hosting a session.
Sweet. Well, it's good to meet you, man. I'll definitely let Dante. I was talking to you.
Absolutely, man. Tell him I said hi.
Yeah, well.
Totally, man. Good to meet you.
And Melissa, I have you up next. Or now.
So right now I'm working on it's actually some book illustrations that I'm a little behind schedule on. It's a friend of mine. I do these pirate event things, and I'm part of a small organization, and and one of them is musician writer, and we're trying to get this. It's going to be called the Orcish Yule. It's kind of like a Norse version of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." So I got contracted to do the illustrations for it. This is just one of the mock-ups I'm working on.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. Oop, I need to spotlight, and then Amy, spotlight for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, if you could turn your camera sideways, though. Oh,
Oh, you're
I
so
know you
good.
can.
I can do it. Yeah, I'm just working on this piece from a photo I took or played around with, and you can find me at AOK Tattoo on Instagram, and we have aoktattoo.com and Facebook AOK Tattoo. And that's it.
Awesome. Sweet. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. Like I said, I hate to cut the party short, but it's always fun, and we will do this again next Monday. Tell your friends to, I don't know, check it out. Cheers.
Well, thanks, Gabe. Bye,
Take
guys.
care.
Cheers. Peace.